It is the Wave, 97.9 and WHAV. And in the studio with us is Tom Mortimer, President, CEO of the Haverhill Bank. And Tom, good morning to you.
Good morning, Win.
Nice to have you here. The reason I wanted to have you here is I wanted to continue a discussion we had at a social event. It was a chamber event?
It was. I think it was either the chamber. Probably the chamber on top of the Bosa building.
Yeah, on top of that, with the scenic view overlooking the Haverhill Bank in downtown.
That's right. Look at our solar panels on our roof.
Oh yeah, and air conditioning units and
Absolutely,
things like that.
Yeah.
All right, you got everything over there. But the reason I wanted to have you on was because you started to talk about. And I can do it in the radio business, and you were doing it in the banking business about this bank's connected to the bank, that bank, and there used to be a bank over here, and I just found it fascinating. So I'm not quite sure where to start because there's so many banks here. But why don't we start with Haverhill Bank, because Haverhill Bank is really a combination of a whole bunch of banks.
That's correct. I've been in Haverhill now long enough that I can give directions referencing landmarks that no longer exist. I've been living in Haverhill since '82 and working in Haverhill. I started working in Haverhill in 1985. But yeah, Haverhill Bank is comprised of, I think in the 70s, they merged with Citizens Cooperative Bank. In 1982, they merged with Whittier Cooperative Bank. In 2008, they merged with Northeast Community Credit Union, and then in 2012 merged in with the Economy Cooperative Bank out of Merrimack, and all of that today is Haverhill Bank.
Okay, so that's four banks.
Yes, and the landmark one, of course, was Northeast Community Credit Union. I think that may have been the first credit union to bank merger in the country, and it may have been the last. So that was a landmark, and that was the board of directors, and Tom Faulkner did that one with Peter DiBenedetto and their board and the Northeast Community Credit Union board. So that was a saving grace for Haverhill to keep all those assets local.
Yeah. So why would it's a little beyond me, but why would that have been the last one like that, credit union to a non-credit union?
Credit unions are a sore topic with banks when. I'd really rather not get into that. It's a long history there.
Okay.
They compete. The credit unions have a niche in the market, and they do a great job with their customers. And the banks have a different market, and the banking laws are different for the two. And so the credit unions, in the bank's opinion, encroach upon banking products and services, and that's where the grudge is with the banks and the credit unions, but no harm. They're wonderful people.
Oh yeah, they're all nice people. So that's the history. That's the banking history or the merger history of Haverhill Bank.
Yes, and as I was thinking about it, I came across some paperwork I have at the bank that Tom Faulkner put together in 2002 at the bank's 125th anniversary. So we have our 150th coming up in 2027. So Haverhill Bank was founded on August 13th, as it says here. It came alive August 13th, 1877. And the very first meeting was at the Good Templars Hall at 53 Merrimack Street. And also, at the very first meeting, the first loan was made to an F.S. McKinney for the sum of $400. Back then, when they used to make loans, they would discount the loan. So you would ask for a loan for $400, but you get $320. But you had to pay back $400. Those are usury type interest rates, and they're not allowed today. So it was very interesting reading through this history. I won't bore everyone with the whole history here. But before we were at 180 Merrimack Street, we were down the street, what is now Haverhill Beef. That was Haverhill Bank's primary location.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then they constructed the building that it's now known as 180 Merrimack Street. I have it in here someplace, but I won't go through all the paperwork to go through that. And then our 100th anniversary in 1977 was celebrated at the Club Casino in Hampton Beach. So it's very interesting. One of the things I came across was when the Whittier merger took place in 1982. Many of your listeners might remember the board of directors from Whittier, and that was Bert Barrett, Richard Bluestein, Lou Farmer, Norm Shepard, and Lawrence Whiting. So Norm Shepard was on the board when I joined Haverhill Bank in 2010, and that was the history. He was one of the surviving board members from the Whittier merger. And also, I'm the 8th CEO in the history of Haverhill Bank. You had John Tilton, William Page, James Page, Earl Harvey, Warren Morton, Albert Ingham, and Thomas Faulkner. Now, the Pages, William Page and James Page, they were CEOs of Haverhill Bank for a combined 69 years. And that's the James Page Insurance Company.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Jim Travers, the grandson of James Page.
And they're doing, they're in the news today, as a matter of fact, doing a pet drive. Now, back then, could they run the bank and then have another job at the same time?
Yes, back then they prided themselves. In here, they talk about not having exorbitant offices, gilded ceilings, and huge columns. They wanted to return the profits back to the depositors, or back then they were called shareholders. And so they were modest working conditions. I think Haverhill Bank at one time shared office space with Haverhill National Bank. Haverhill National Bank is where Bank of America is today, right at the corner of Merrimack and Emerson.
Okay.
And then the Gleason Law offices, that was Bay Bank, Merrimack Valley, on Merrimack Street, right across from Haverhill Bank. And back in the 70s, I believe, the former CEO, chairman, and president of Pentucket Bank, Ed Cody, was a president of Bay Bank, Merrimack Valley. And so when they were consolidating Bay Bank, he went and became president and CEO of Pentucket Bank. And then, of course, next to the Gleason Law offices, TD Bank, and that's the bank that I started working at in Haverhill in 1985, Family Mutual Savings Bank. Don Lang was president and CEO. Dave Hindle came after Don Lang. Phil Hefner was the executive vice president, and Ron Trombley was the senior loan officer who hired me. So I was a young commercial loan officer working across the street from where I am today. And prior to being Family Mutual Savings Bank, it was called Haverhill Savings Bank.
I'm still stuck on the fact that you used to be where Haverhill Beef is now.
Yeah, and after that, I think it was the Registry of Motor Vehicles. So, and then the first meeting, when the bank was created at the corner of Merrimack Street and Fleet Street, and Fleet Street, of course, is no longer there. It was right across where Newman's Furniture used to be. So I can do that now. And then we had, back then we had so many banks. We had First Sussex Savings Bank. Just over the border, we had Plasto Bank and Trust, Plasto Cooperative Bank, and let's see, probably about 2 or 3 other banks that I'm forgetting about. So there were so many banks in the Greater Haverhill market back when I came to Haverhill in 1985 that you go to a chamber event, it's all bankers, realtors, and insurance agents for the most part. A lot of insurance agencies, independent realtors. So we all got to know each other, and we all got along very well.
Well, how about that? Do they have bank memorabilia shows where they can they sell baseball cards? You can buy a baseball, like today's Ted Williams' birthday, for example. So if you get a Ted Williams card, it's worth something. Now, if they have a bank that doesn't exist, stationery and stuff like that, is that worth anything?
I don't know if it's worth anything. It might be worth something to an old-time board member or employee, but generally speaking, every once in a while, somebody will come by the bank and say, I came across this old Haverhill Bank book of matches or something like that, and hand it to me. And I think I got a money pouch handed to me maybe a few months ago with Haverhill Bank, and it had some inside the flap, it had some local businesses that were advertising on the flap. So every once in a while that comes up, but I don't know what monetary value it would have.
Well, and you are like a history, a walking history book. And I kind of kid with people. I said, yeah, we're, when I tell people how to get to WHAV, I said, yeah, we're right by the parking deck that's not there anymore.
There you go. That's how you do it. And there's a great history. And I know the people right before me, like a Tom Faulkner or Ron Trombley, they could go into a little bit more detail from the banking world in the 60s and 70s, where there was a lot of activity. But I was way too young. And I'm still a newbie in the Haverhill market. I came to Haverhill in '82, so the locals, I'm still new.
It's 32 years ago.
Oh, more than that.
It's 42 years ago.
Yeah.
See, that's why you're in banking, and I'm not in math.
Yeah, so it's been a good run. I actually worked about 6 to 9 months at Plasto Bank and Trust across the border for Dick Fletcher. Dick Fletcher was an interesting character. I was warned when I went for my interview, this bank president, he has a big belt buckle, and he wears cowboy shoes, boots, to work. And Dick was a tremendous guy, a wonderful carpenter. He was one of those people who would take a piece of driftwood and turn it into a schooner. He was able to build those ship models inside bottles. And he was a gentleman farmer on East Broadway. So, yeah. So there's a lot of interesting characters out there. But it's been a wonderful run so far. The banking industry is continuously changing. Back in 1985, when I started working at Family Mutual Savings Bank, there were about 235 banks back then in Massachusetts, and I think we're down to about 98. So it's a consolidating industry. A lot of change is happening. And I suspect by the end of the year, there'll be like 96. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you got to be alert, be on your toes. And, the community banking is, the way to go. We have 2 community banks here in Haverhill still. And a lot of communities have none. They have branches of a national or regional bank. And I think that the community benefits with the community banking world, and we hope to be a community bank for many, many years to come.
We work with, we're a nonprofit, and we work with a lot of other nonprofits, and they all look to the community banks to help support their causes.
They do. It's in the budget. With COVID and everything, the requests increased. So the board gave management the authority to increase, and so we do what we can, and we not only do it with the dollars, but we do a lot of volunteer work as well.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, Tom, we'll have to get you back on again to continue the recollections.
Yeah, and last time I was here, we talked about the bank failure out in California, Silicon Valley. Hopefully all that's behind us, and hopefully the Fed lowers rates very shortly. So if you're contemplating locking up some money for a while, rates are probably coming down soon, so you might want to get to Haverhill Bank and get in line and open up your certificate of deposit.
All right. Hey, Tom, thank you so much.
All right, Ben, thank you for having me.
All right, and we'll be seeing you around town because you're a community banker.
I hope so. Thank you.
All right, Tom Mortimer, President and CEO of the Haverhill Bank, our guest this morning, right here on the WAVE 97.9 WHAV. We'll take a look at the news in a moment.
Wake up with Wayne Damon weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on 97.9 FM WHAV.
Catch the wave, WHAV.